Good morning, traders. I am Emily Advani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, October 22nd. Stocks are coming off a mixed start to the week following a drop in the Dow and the S&P 500 yesterday, with the NASDAQ hanging on to green. The NASDAQ picked up 50 points or more than 0.25% during regular trading yesterday. The Dow tumbled 344 points or 0.8%. The S&P 500 gave up 10 points or 0.18%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're down 0.35%. We were down over 0.4%. So, it's a little better than, what it was earlier this morning. But, the market is very cautious today, and I am concerned. I've got some, positions on that I will be watching and monitoring closely. But this morning's weakness, I mean, markets focused on earnings report. We had some good, we had some bad earnings. Bond yields yesterday, we saw that tick up in bond yields. That really concerned the markets, and the commentary from the Fed officials, which essentially what they're saying is that there's not going to be they're not going to cut rates meeting by meeting. There's likely going to be a pause between meetings. So the market's got to kind of price that in. We had some earnings beat this morning from RTX, 3M, KMB, General Motors, and others. One story that's interesting to me is Cake, C-A-K-E, Charlie Apple Kilo Edward, Cheesecake Factory. JCP Investment Management apparently has built a 2% stake in the company. Fed speakers, they're indicating a gradual pace of rate cuts, indicating that a pause could occur. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken's going to be visiting Israel and other countries in the region this week in an attempt to revive those truce talks. But let's take a look at what's happening overseas this morning. And we're looking at the DAX. The DAX is down 33 points or 0.17%. It was up earlier this morning because, most of the earnings reports that came out were positive, and that was, causing the DAX to be up 40 points, but now it's turned, and now it's down 0.16%. The FTSE's down 56 points or 0.67%. The UK budget deficit is widened more than expected in September. That's kind of causing a little bit of a concern for the FTSE, and the CAC is down 35 points or 0.47%. In Asia last night, the Nikkei fell 542 points or 1.39%. Listen, we saw weakness in banking and technology stocks. Most sectors were weak. The yen continues to be a main focus as it's really the key to that market. Then we get the Hong Kong, which actually rose about 0.1%. We saw some gains in tech and financial in China. It was up 17 points or 0.54%. Market continues to, assess the impact of that stimulus announcements that have been coming through from the PBOC and China's government. So that's something to keep an eye on as those things will continue to move those Asian markets. Then we're looking at oil. Oil is trading higher again this morning. It's 2 days in a row. I mean, WTI is at $71.17 a barrel, whereas Brent is at $74.77 a barrel. They were up 1%. They pulled back a little bit. Middle East tensions are a big focus. Don't forget, today after the bell, the American Petroleum Institute will be releasing its stockpile estimates for last week, and that's going to be a market-moving report. But it comes out at 4:30 p.m., but it is one to keep an eye on. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update, Emily.
And Bill, as you're trying to trade the caution in the air, you're keeping track of all of these factors. And one of those factors that you mentioned, our earnings report, a host of earnings that investors are watching today. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings action?
Well, let's see what we have here. Moody's, ticker MCO, Michael Charlie Oscar, they beat by 25 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at the stock, it's flat this morning. It's up 0.01%. Then you got Verizon, ticker VZ, Victor Zebra. They beat by a penny, but they did it on lower revenue. Stock's down 2.75% this morning. RTX Corp, Richard Tom X-Ray, they beat by 11 cents on higher revenue. RTX is up 1.59%. And then you got 3M, Minnesota Mining Manufacturing. 3M beat by 8 cents. They did it on higher revenue. The stock's up 6.13% this morning, so all positive. Upcoming tomorrow morning, we got Boeing. EPS is for a negative $8.77. Expected move is 5.56%. Remember, they kind of pre-released. They're kind of probably talk about the strike ending, so this could be something to keep an eye on. Too many moving pieces for me to play right now. General Dynamics, ticker GD, their EPS is $3.54. Expected move is 3.50%. And AT&T, ticker T is in Tom. Their EPS is 59 cents with the expected move of 4.81% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
Well, the other thing you mentioned in your opening, that things like Fed speak have been, creating a certain sentiment in the air. So keeping track of economic events day in and day out becomes increasingly important. And so you're watching economic events as you do every day. Bill, what is going on in terms of the day's economic events?
For today, 10 a.m., Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index. Also at 10 a.m., we're going to hear from Philadelphia Fed Bank President Patrick Harker. Yesterday, we heard from Neil Kashkari. He's the president of the Minneapolis Fed. He kind of suggested that he supported a slower pace of rate cuts. He said he's forecasting more modest cuts over the next several quarters in order to get to the neutral rate. Now, he's not a voting member, but he pulls a lot of weight because he's one of the sharpest guys on the Fed. Then there's Dallas Fed Bank President Lori Logan, who's also spoke yesterday, and she continues to see a need for gradual rate cuts towards a neutral level to help manage the risk of a faster cool down in the labor market. So, that's kind of concerning to me. You're not going to see a 50 basis point cut again. You're going to see 25 basis point cuts, and it's not going to be at every meeting. It's going to be gradual. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic information this morning, Emily.
And as we're trying to navigate these waters this morning, putting the pieces of the puzzle together, like the earnings action, economic events, you're still keeping track of other types of news, data, and information, things that could be moving the market, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings. You also are able to group stocks together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks, really being able to track trends on the trading day. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm just doing a quick data check this morning, seeing what the market's doing. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 21 lower, 7 or higher. I'm looking at my FANG stocks. We're seeing losses across the board in the FANG stocks. So it's not really attractive. But you got, some of the news behind the tape, like Amazon. Estee Lauder announced that the official launch of an Amazon premium beauty store. That's interesting to me. You look at Estee Lauder today, it is trading slightly higher, but it's no risk for Amazon. It's only a benefit for Amazon, so that's kind of good news. Meta Platforms, they're testing the use of facial recognition technology to detect and prevent celebrity bait ads on their platforms. Tesla, trading 217.42. They're going to report third quarter results tomorrow after the bell. It's one to keep an eye on. What else do we have happening here? We're going over to the Dow Jones 30 stocks, and we're talking Nike, ticker NKE. Stock is trading a little higher this morning. They signed a 12-year global outfitting agreement with the NBA, WNBA, and the NBA's G League. Positive for Nike. Johnson & Johnson. They said sales of their depression drug, Sapato, is expected to reach over $1 billion this year. This is like a ketamine type drug. It's only done at a doctor's office, but it's over $1 billion in sales. That's very positive. Boeing, shares of Boeing, as I said, they're releasing earnings tomorrow morning. That's one to keep an eye on. In terms of merger news, BGC Group announced the agreement to acquire OTC Global Holdings. That's interesting. OTC Global Holdings, I remember those guys. Cakes, ticker CAKE, Charlie Apple, Kilo Edward, JCP Investment Management has a 2% position in Cake, and they're looking to break up the company to three separate chains. Now, obviously, you know Cheesecake Factory, but they have two other, smaller, uh, casual dining restaurants, and they want to break them up into three separate companies. I don't think this is a good idea. I see, some, negative movement on cake on the horizon, CAKE. Let's talk guidance news and let's talk Moody's MCO, Michael Charlie Oscar. Moody's sees full year 2024 EPS 11.90 to 12.10. Street estimate is $11.69. That's an uptick. RTX, Richard Tom X-Ray, they raised their full year 2024 adjusted EPS to $5 to $5.58. Street estimate has it at $5.47. That's an uptick. General Motors narrows its full year 2024 EPS view to $10 to $10.50. Street estimate has it at $10. That's an uptick. Gotta like that. In terms of shareholder events going on, Cisco, ticker CSCO, they're having their annual AI collaboration and customer experience event going on today. It's over the next few days. McCormick, ticker MKC, Michael Kilo Charlie, they're having an investors day today. One to keep an eye on. In terms of catalyst calls, Cake. Oh, listen to this. Ticker CAKE. Citibank added Cake to its 30-day downside catalyst watch list. There you go. ULCC, Uncle Larry, Charlie, Charlie. This is Frontier Airlines. Citibank places Frontier Airlines at a negative 30-day catalyst watch list. Dell Computers, ticker DELL, David, Edward, Larry, Larry. JP Morgan places Dell on a positive catalyst watch list. Interesting for shares of Dell. And that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. It is now that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us today?
I had a tough time finding one that I like, but I'm going to go with Hilton Worldwide, ticker HLT, Henry, Larry, Tom. They're going to be releasing tomorrow morning. Earnings are out tomorrow morning. EPS is $1.85. Expected move is 5.78%. That's a big number for this stock. Look at yesterday's call volume: 340 calls traded versus 333 puts. That's flat. But you want to call it positive? Yeah, it was positive, but I'm going to call it flat. Open interest is positive, 43,394 versus 21,764. Okay. Major brokers do like it. They are raising price targets on the stock. You've got to figure that there's some, they had a lot of bookings over the last quarter, so that could be good. And I gotta, if I'm going to trade this stock, I want to get in the 235 area. That's kind of where I'm hoping to get in. Stocks bid 233 to 243, very widespread. So I'm going to say 235 area for an entry point. But that's my pick of the day. Hilton Worldwide, ticker HLT, Henry, Larry, Tom, and an earnings play, Emily.
We will follow that along with you, Bill. And yesterday's pick of the day was a play ahead of earnings. And coming up, we will do a recap on that pick of the day before we sign off. But before we do that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our Hot Off the Press segment. Bill, take it away.
Okay, fuel cell, FCEL to pursue clean hydrogen production in Korea. GE Aerospace to ramp up deliveries of GE9X engine next year. Chipotle, ticker CMG, introduces AI hiring platform. Fortinet and CrowdStrike, ticker FTNT, they team up on protection from endpoint to firewall. Walmart, ticker WMT, launches same-day pharmacy delivery. BFRG, Boy, Frank, Richard, Grace, Bullfrog AI to present at Google's Cancer AI Symposium. THS, Tom, Henry, Sam, Treehouse Foods expands voluntary recall to all products made at one facility. Not good. Target, TGT. Target announced plans to reduce prices on over 2,000 items heading into this holiday season. Warner Brothers and Tesla. This is interesting to me. Movie and television studio Alcon Entertainment on Monday sued Tesla and Warner Brothers over claims they used images tied to the film's Blade Runner 2049 to promote Tesla's new autonomous cybercab vehicles. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was GE. GE Aerospace did announce third quarter earnings this morning. They announced Third quarter earnings per share of $1.15. That was ahead of what Wall Street was looking for, around $1.13. This was on sales of $9.6 billion. Wall Street was looking for $9 billion there. They did issue some guidance. GE does see full year 2024 EPS of $4.20 to $4.35. The consensus there had been $4.25. So, bumping up to the higher end of that consensus. A decent report, but a number of moving pieces with this one, and investors aren't loving it this morning. But Bill, you were playing this one yesterday ahead of this announcement. How did your call work out?
Worked out. Just got to look at the numbers. I mean, the fact of the matter is the stock opened up at 192.91, and then it fell down to 192.02. Now I had said 192.50, and then you look at the stock; it actually closed at 194.23, and then in the aftermarket it hit 195.83 on the bid. So yeah, the 1% was there. I mean, you got to take it when you have it. I mean, I had 3M yesterday too, and I had to gain and I had to walk away because made that 1%. Take it and walk away. I left money on the table, but I saved money on the GE by taking off the table after 1%. So GE was a winner for me yesterday, Emily.
Green is green, taking that gain when you see it. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Hilton Worldwide pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.